everyone, and welcome to the first episode of What's with Health. So we are three nursing coaches who have a combined 90-year history of working and observing healthcare. And we wanted to come together to talk about what we noticed, all our different experience and perspectives. We really wanted to come and share them out loud because we feel that we have really great conversations, and we know that some of the work we do as coaches helps new starters in healthcare to really see opportunities and generate solutions as they navigate their way in this crazy system we call healthcare. And we really want to help people out and find an easier way to do that. To get going though, in Australia here, we like to acknowledge and pay respect to the lands and the waterways of the traditional Aboriginal families. We're all coming from different places. So there's Yugara, Turrbal and Durrumbal lands that we're all speaking from. And for us, it always was and always will be Aboriginal lands. So we wanted to acknowledge that. So to get the ball rolling for episode 1, we really wanted to let you know a bit about each of us because we're pretty, we've been in it for a while and we just want to let you know who we are. So we're not speaking from a place of inexperience. We actually have something to offer you. So I want to hand over to Isabel first. I've talked enough. So Isabel, tell us about you.
Hi. Well, I began my career as a pediatric ICU nurse, and I worked for more than 20 years with critically ill patients and trauma victims. In 2015, I graduated with a PhD from Griffith University, and I really loved working with patients who've been through a lot of traumatic events and seeing them, progress and see how they recover. So that was sort of my background as a nurse. And, working with critically ill patients for so long, I can tell you that without a doubt, that impacted my life, not only professionally, but also personally, and how these things impacted in my life was, with stress, actually. That's why I'm passionate about, helping other people, other women to deal with this. Because about 5 years ago, more or less, like in 2017, I faced high levels of stress, work stress, and that led to physical issues. I was dealing with my hair started to fall out. And I developed chronic back pain and insomnia. So those things were, for those of you who are dealing with those things, you probably understand where I'm coming from and how distressful that can be. So what I did, even though I went to doctors and have access to amazing healthcare, I was given medications, I was treated medically, but I knew that I needed to do some changes, some deep changes in my lifestyle. And so I started to work towards those changes, and I realized that I needed some help because I sort of knew what sort of things I wanted to do and change, but it was all so confusing in my mind. So I started working with a coach who helped me to get clarity as to where I wanted to get to and what were those changes that I needed to do to improve my lifestyle and to help myself, right? To empower myself to make those changes and make those changes that were long lasting, for forever, basically. So, and that helped me a lot. And after working with this person that I'm telling you about, I became passionate about the sport that I practice nowadays, which is powerlifting. I started lifting weights. And with the help of this coach, after a year, I was on a platform competing and winning a gold medal, which is amazing. And I'm very proud of it because I've never thought in my life that I was going to be doing that kind of thing. So, so that's
and just for everyone listening, Isabel, how much were you lifting? Because I think that's always a question you have to ask a power lifter. How much were you lifting?
Okay, so we compete in three sort of lifting. So one is squats, the other one is deadlift, and the third one is bench. So for squats, I'm lifting 120. That was my best lift.
Awesome.
Yes. And then for my bench, my best is 52 kilos.
Wow.
And my deadlift, that is the best is 140 actually. 140. Yeah, and coming from no lifting weights, right? So yes, that was a big improvement because I don't know, maybe my squat I started from 40 kilos, so the bar and two disc of 10 kilos, needs like so major improvement, and and winning and feeling very proud and feeling very accomplished.
Yeah, but it goes to show how that accountability of working with someone who can walk alongside you and say, well, Isabel, let's just keep small steps and let's grow you to this place where you can now do 140 kilos.
That's right.
Like you can't do that sort of thing by yourself. So it's so nice to work with someone who, can walk alongside you and take you on that journey that you chose to go on.
Absolutely. I agree, Sue. Sometimes we think that the goals that we have or where we want to get to is so, or even sometimes we feel like we don't deserve that, or we are not even.
Or it's selfish.
Yeah, that's right. And just the commitment that I made to just show up, because that was my commitment, right? That was my decision. I wasn't thinking of, okay, this is how much I really want to live. No, for me,
and I won a gold medal.
Yeah, that's right. That just happened. That was just the result of me showing up and just doing the work, small steps, and just committing to what I wanted to do, which was basically, treating my back pain. So not having, chronic back pain, and dealing with my insomnia, and, reducing my levels of distress. So my hair, and, stayed in my hair.
Yes. Well, it's the best place for it, really.
Yeah. So that led me to do some training and be your classmate.
Yes, where we all met, by the way. So we met because we've all got our stories about why we wanted to become coaches. So this is why we became friends.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. So now I sort of help other women to achieve their goals in terms of lifestyle and managing stress related to work.
Awesome. And I'd also like to point out, I think down the track in our podcast, we're probably going to talk a bit about your PhD journey, because I think I've come across so many nurses in my time who that's one of their goals, is to actually keep, working in nursing, to grow nursing and to grow themselves in nursing. And they do really want to go down that PhD path, but a bit lost on how to do it. So I think it'd be really great if you got to talk about that at some point down the track as well, because I think there's a lot of people who'll be listening who'll want to know more about that as well.
Sure. That'll be my pleasure.
Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about you?
Well, no, I'm just excited to listen to Celeste.
Yes.
Tell us about you.
Yeah, so we have the amazing Celeste as well, another nurse. Look, we've just gathered all the nurses together for this. So Celeste, you've got the stage.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Celeste, and I'll tell you a little bit about me. I have written it down because I'm feeling a little bit nervous, so I'm being honest, put that out there. So I love helping people, but when I see them feel empowered to take steps themselves, that's what really lights me up. So the caring part is what drew me to being a nurse and to pursue that career for a very long time. But it's the empowerment bit that I realised looking back. It's when I've worked with patients and I see that look in their face that I can do this. I've got this. Like you just see that change, and that really just feels so good. So I guess that's what drew me into coaching. So I graduated with the first cohort of registered nurses from the uni in Toowoomba, USQ, and that was an interesting time because I remember there was a lot of well, I don't know, I guess a lot of fear. People thought we were actually going to take their jobs and, come out of uni and
And also, I think at that time too, Celeste, it was that you weren't as good as the hospital trained people. You hadn't earned your stripes in the hard work of the hospitals.
Yeah. And everybody has an opinion about how nurses are trained, which I think is really interesting because there's never really much of a conversation about how engineers or operators in the mine or anywhere else are educated. But nurses, I think everyone has an attachment to a nurse. They have a sister or an aunt or a nan or daughter or son. I should be not so being so gender stereotype there, but you get
back in the day it was predominantly women who were leading this workforce. So because men did get considered, they were targeted as being effeminate if they did nursing. So it wasn't encouraged for men to go do that.
So I think things have changed a lot as far as that's concerned. Anyway, so graduated from uni, not too many graduate positions available at that time. So I had to use my initiative and I got a job up at Mount Isa Hospital, which was fantastic. There's just so many opportunities when you go rural or remote. And it is a bit of a leap of faith, but it was really good to me. So I think within 3 years, there was opportunities to work right across the different departments and then accept leadership or go to remote areas. So it gave me a really good foundation and I think an inner confidence to have a crack at different things.
Yeah.
But basically, though I love being a generalist, I found myself drawn back to critical care areas because I think I'm detail focused and I like the satisfaction of that total patient care and one-on-one. But there may be an element of control freakness going on there as well. And I guess so over the years I've worked in rural and remote and in Australia and overseas, and it's given me a broad insight to the joys and the challenges that healthcare practitioners have in giving care, and likewise for consumers who may not get access to the variety of care that we have in the cities, and how that looks, how that feels, and how we find ways around it. So for me to be drawn to coaching, started with during the pandemic, there was a couple of leadership coaches that I came across. They did a webinar for the Australian College of Nursing on resilience. And, Zoom was all pretty new to most of us. And it was the first sort of Zoom webinar I'd ever sort of been involved with. And they just had such energy and passion, and they have a real no bullshit kind of approach, excuse the French, but that really drew me in because I thought they're happy to front up things and tackle the issues. So I followed them on Facebook, and then I later did an authentic leadership program with them. And I started gaining insight about how my mindset influences what happens around me, and how, when I change how I look at things, suddenly I see the world differently and I interact with it differently. And that's mirrored back, and it was really empowering. So, and I also noticed that I had actually a very negative and judgmental voice in my head that it would really put me down and make me want to play small and not be heard. So I guess over the years I'd generated this self-limiting belief that nobody wants to hear what I have to say, which is just so irrational, but it's very real when you experience it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's carrying that. So it's just, it's that consciously making it small, telling it to get in the back seat doesn't have any influence on me. And so slowly I learned to question that belief. And I started a journey of learning to back myself rather than seeking external validation. So seeking support from others to say that I should do X, Y, Z. And I discovered my values and strengths and how to use them mindfully so that I align with my values. And I realized how curious I am. And that my purpose is to empower people to turn their suffering into an opportunity to discover their true potential.
That's lovely, Celeste. Because I think that's the thing in healthcare and as healthcare workers, where we're consistently always caring for others, our ability to sometimes be too humble in ourselves to, spend so much time to care for somebody else is a big thing that happens. I wonder if that's, what you were saying about you just, put yourself in the back seat, because we get into a habit of being super humble, I think. Is that it?
Possibly. And I also think you have a tendency to be like that. It's easy to hide.
True.
You always find somewhere to sort of, you don't have to have the spotlight put on you.
And now look at you now. We're putting the spotlight right on you. So awesome. Yep. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Embracing the moment. So, Oh, where was I? So, I noticed that I was really frustrated at the gradual deterioration of patients at their baseline. So, I'm interested in what other people's experience is out there. But what I've noticed as an RN working in ED 30 years ago, the average patient was genuinely ED, there might be a sick child, but mostly it was the people who'd had a seizure or an accident or something, and they needed their stitches, they needed their tetanus injection, and they needed their medications to be sorted out and then admitted or sent home. And it didn't matter how crappy your shift was or how demanding it was. At the end of the shift, everybody would have either gone home or they'd be in a bed up on the ward. And now it's not like that. Now patients will be in the hospital in your ED for a number of days, and they're on 2 pages of medications or 2 charts of medications, and a lot of that's not an easy patient to admit to hospital. So that takes extra time on our doctors and managing our patients and then getting beds cleared upstairs. So the acuity has gone up dramatically in 30 years. And as a nurse, I feel that it's like we've given up on people at some level, that we just accept that we're going to keep doing the same thing and keep making the same choices. And so all we can do is just patch people up and send them home and not sort of have faith that they can change. And so I started to think, well, how can I change? What's something I can do that's going to make a difference instead of being frustrated or just looking for the little tiny wins? And that's when I discovered health and wellness coaching. And I thought, this is something that aligns with me. And this is something that I feel I can really make a difference and help people to find the little steps that they can take towards their own vision for being well. And it's amazing when I see the people that I work with, and how the confidence that they get just from taking a few little steps, and suddenly they feel like they can take on anything, in time, that they're realistic, but they see the pluses, they see their successes, even in their mistakes, or even in their where they think they might have failed. They can look and say, yeah, but I learned this and I learned that, and like, oh, well, so this is what I'm going to do next. And it's not sort of giving it up or throwing out the baby with the bathwater. So yeah, that's I think that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. And I think that you make, and I know in future podcasts, when we sort of created our list of ideas for the future that we really want to talk about, that thing that you were talking about there about, how our patients, the acuity, that, their burden of illness is just bigger and bigger, and people are living with, 3 to 4 to 5 chronic diseases, and they have 2 pages of medications, and those medications interact with each other and create another illness. So then, and then you've got that, well, is that a medical patient? Is that a surgical patient? Is that what sort of patient is that? And which ward do they go to? And, oh, that's right. Wait a minute. There's no beds on the wards left, because all the other patients who are a bit like the patient that you've got in front of you are in the same boat. So, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Yeah. And what can we do differently? So that great thought that you said you had of going, how can I do something different here? Because we're doing the same thing over and over. we're getting the same result. That's just, you know, as Albert Einstein says, that's actually madness. That's actually not clever. So, wow, what can we do differently? So, you know, that's a great way of sort of a mindset, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing I'd like to add is that, you know, now I'm looking around me and I'm seeing a lot of my colleagues in health and caring professions that are really suffering from compassion fatigue, is what we can see. But it's that feeling that you're never going to get off this merry-go-round, that it's just endless and there's always extra shifts to be filled. There's always, there's, you know, you're feeling that there's not enough left in the tank when you get home. And you know, they're suffering from fatigue and burnout. So I would like to be able to help them to find ways to set boundaries or whatever it is that's going to help them to be able to stay in the profession, but make the little changes that'll help them to do it on their terms, and not see it that they are depriving the team because they're not doing that extra shift, but rather that I'm looking after me so that I can keep showing up next week and the week after and next year. So if I take the steps now, that'll make a difference down the track.
Oh, and for sure. And that, you know, because our work is more than just our work. It's our life. It's our families. You know, I don't want to bite my head off, you know, the people I live with every day. You know, I want to be a happy person. That's actually my goal, is to be a happy person. And if I'm exhausted and worn out because I go to work every day, then how am I achieving my happy person goal for home? You know, and like everybody has a right to achieve their happy person goals if they have one, but you know, and not rip their, you know, child's head off and the kid just goes, oh mum, I'm hungry, you know, like, so it's a toughie, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's thinking enough to put ourselves first for that bit, so that we've got enough in the tank then to help those around us. Like the old aeroplane with the air hostesses are always saying, you know, put your own oxygen mask on before you help anyone around you, you know.
I used to work in the ambulances, and the first thing that you need to check is the scene and make sure that you are not going to become a victim. So make sure that there is safety before you get in and help others. So
yes, that's a really good one.
Yeah. And it's that idea of, you know, I sort of teach a lot in sort of the domain of healthcare workforce, but a bit of leadership as well in there. And I'm always talking about, you know, this compassion fatigue that you were just talking about there, Celeste, and how it actually affects how we turn up to every moment in our life. So when we turn up to a moment and we're exhausted, I walk in a room exhausted and fatigued, and I'm a leader. And so someone in my team comes to me and says, oh, Sue, can you help me with this? And I just turn and look at them and do this. Now, my face instantly is saying, I'm not interested. So then this poor worker, who is also fatigued too, let's just get that right, looks at me and goes, oh, she doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? So so how am I turning up with this fatigue? You know, so now I'm, you know, that person who I lead and who I have to be present for and 100% on my game for, I can't be because I'm tired. They're already tired. So you can see how sometimes our staff and our teams don't think our leaders care because the leaders are fatigued, and the leaders have just forgotten how to be present and to turn up going, I know I've got all this baggage and I'm tired and all these things, but right now I'm the leader here. So I am going to put that behind me, and I'm going to be effective in myself, and I'm going to be interested, and I'm going to be present, and I'm going to be open with, you know, I'm going to come to my staff with an open will, an open heart, and an open mind so that I can be here for you. And even like that simple mind shift of understanding how you appear when you turn up in someone else's space can really be a mind shift too. So that's really important. And I know we'll get to that as well down the track in our beautiful list that we're creating for the future. But I was just going to check in with Isabel and Celeste. Is there anything else you wanted to add to All About You?
Good to go.
You go, Celeste.
I'm good.
Okay. Oh, well, I just wanted to add that if I don't know, if people who are watching this are struggling with stress, compassion fatigue, or any of the things that we're going to discuss here, please reach out to us. We are creating a Facebook page where you can, send us messages, send us comments and things like that, so we can be in touch, and don't be afraid to connect. We are happy to connect with you. And also, for this podcast, if you feel like this can help somebody, please share it. Share, comment, like our content, because that will help this podcast to grow. That will help other people to listen to the things that we're talking about, and perhaps it can resonate with them and can help them. And that's because that's the end goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we're hoping, Isabel, too, and I know we've discussed this, when we've been talking together, is we're happy to do the hard work and do some research and look stuff up, and we want to be of benefit and to help you all. So if there is something you're going, you know what, I'd like to know more about this because I think I'm going through that, I wonder if you guys as a group could talk about it. Hop on our Facebook page, add it as a suggestion for a future episode. Hey, we're happy with that, aren't we, ladies?
Definitely. And you can message us as well.
Yes,
by Messenger if you want to put it in the comments.
Exactly. And also we all have our own businesses as well. So if you each individually wanted to contact us, because, particularly if, you're someone who is working in a rural remote location, so you're someone who really has some challenges in that space and think that Celeste could really help you navigate some of your sort of feelings that you're having in that space. Well, Celeste, because she, is based in Rockhampton, she really has that knowledge of, the rural remote world. And if you want to be a future power lifter, like
Or get
Isabel,
active. Get active. Movement.
Isabel is your lady. So, and I also have a website too, so we have spaces where you can come and ask us more as well. So yeah, I think we're really excited, aren't we, girls, about how this could help people.
And I'm excited to hear your story, Sue.
Right. Sorry, I get too excited thinking about our future world. I'm always so future focused, I forget to be in the moment. So sorry about that, everyone. So I'm a nurse as well. I guess you've gathered that. But I'm also a wife, a mum, a friend to many, and a bit of a cat lady. And I have been very fortunate in my journey to float up the river. I didn't start my life terribly driven. I was just one of those people who things came to me and I just keep floating up the river in my little paddle boat. And I'd sort of allow people to navigate me in different directions. So that was how I started in my life. So I've been an EN, an RN, a CN, manager and educator, a head of school for a nursing program at one point. I've been a national manager of major health programs for all Australians. And now I am a portfolio coach. So I do one-to-one coaching sessions. I'm also was really fortunate to get group coaching opportunity in the domain of compassion fatigue and aged care. So I'm working in that space a lot now, working with aged care facilities teams and the organisation and brokering how that's feeling and what's their current reality of being in that space. And I feel that I'm really humbled by what they share with me. I'm an independent third-party person, so anything they tell me is private and confidential, and so that really helps people to feel that they can say anything. So and it's really lovely that they're honest and open and that I get to navigate that. And we look towards solutions, and I've written books and resources on this as well, to try and help people to I'm also a lead mentor within palliative care for across Australia as well. So really fortunate that my career and my journey up the river has got me into all these wonderful spaces where I've got to network with loads of fabulous, hardworking people who are really trying to make the world better through healthcare. So I'm really blessed in that way. And I've spent my whole life just learning as I've been floating up the river, and I just get to meet people who are coming up with their own struggles, but they share and they talk and they find solutions, like these ladies I'm with now. We talk, we think, we find solutions. So it's really awesome. And I think what I've noticed is there is a lot to see out there, and there's a lot going on, and it's a bit heavy, and people are struggling, and it's hard. So I don't know. I like to think I'm a mentor to many. I currently have 4 mentees that I work closely with to help navigate them in the healthcare system. And that's part of me paying forward, because in my journey, I've had some amazing people be a mentor for me so that I could actually get to be who I am today. So there's a part of paying forward in there that I'm really grateful that I get to do now. And so now I really am focused on, creating coaching programs that can make some sustainable change for people who want to change. And I understand that not everybody wants to change, and there is a group of people out there who just wants to sit there and be who they are, and that's cool. I'm not here to judge that, but if anybody does want to change, then I'm on their team, and I'm the little cheerleader at the side, progressing them to the gold medal, like Isabel. So I really like helping organisations too. So I do a bit of work with organisations to talk about, the elephants that they have in their rooms sometimes as well. So that's another great thing that you can do with coaching, because coaching is that curious place to be. It doesn't have judgment. It doesn't come with a, gonna send you straight to hell for what you're doing. It's just, oh, why are you doing that? That's interesting that you've got to this place. How did you get there? And really sitting quietly with someone and hearing how they got to the place they're at, and just letting it be. And I'm just grateful that I've had these opportunities in my life to get here, but also to meet so many like-minded people like Isabel and Celeste and the many other great people as well who, I get to do it with. So I think that's me in a nutshell. Is that good enough, Isabel, Celeste? Are you happy with that?
Very comprehensive.
In a summary, I have done this.
You've done a lot.
Oh, and I think that's the benefit of staying in one place. I've always been in Queensland, so I haven't travelled far abroad, although I did work in Mount Isa for a period of time as well. What you's got me about Mount Isa, just an interesting fun fact, was it 4 o'clock every day they did the underground explosions?
Yes. Well, it used to have, when the shifts changed over the years, so the blasts were at different times, but when it was the 3 shifts, it was like basically every 8 hours when the one up.
Because when you first moved to Mount Isa, you could almost tell the time by when you found the earthward tremor. Yeah. And you'd be like, okay, what's going on? And then someone go, oh no, that's the underground explosion. It happens at this time, this time, and this time. So just, what's going on. You kind of could tell what was happening in your day by those 3 blasts.
Yeah, definitely punctuated the day.
Well, I think that's enough about me. I think, Isabel, you want to finish up today and give all the notes for the end of the day, and we might go.
Yes, of course. Well, it's been a pleasure being here and talking to you and doing this podcast. Really think that if you like this kind of content, please let us know. You can like, share, and comment on our podcast. And also we are going to upload this onto YouTube as well. So we will have a channel there and the Facebook page. So there are several social media platforms where you can connect with us. And as I said, if you like it, give it a like, and you can connect with us through messages, and we love comments. So please, that is our love language. So please comment on our content so we can connect, because that's our purpose, to connect and help you. So you can, learn as well, from our experience, and we can share, and we can also learn from your experience and create a little community here where we are, like-minded people.
Yeah.
So next episode, we're going to talk about compassion fatigue, and we're going to, go deep into that and give some tips as well as to how to manage it and how to cope with that. And yeah, so please connect with us, as I said, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Be awesome. Bye.